for a full body strength plus cardio 30-minute home workout for fat loss and toning, well, guess what? You're in the right spot. And I'm going to go through not only all 12 exercises that are going to happen in this program, modifications, muscles that are worked, etc., etc., etc. You're going to feel like you have been coached personally by me by the end of this video. But I'm going to go in order, so that way, if at some point you don't want to watch the rest, I won't be heartbroken. Obviously, I love when you watch the whole video, but, you know, it's what it is. So I'm going to go over the sets, reps, and exercises themselves through the workout. So that way, if you just want to go ahead and knock out the workout, that's what you're watching this for, I'm going to knock that out first for you. But if you're a beginner and you know what you want to get started, I want to make sure that you understand the muscles that you're working, the equipment that you're going to need. I want to make sure that you understand modifications if you need modifications for the exercises and if you don't have something at home, all right? You know what you got to do, though, before I go into all these exercises, giving you the coaching pretty much one-on-one right now, face-to-face, you got to subscribe. And hopefully, if you love this content, you love this workout, you should share this with other people that you know can benefit from this. Because it's not just you. Don't keep this to yourself, all right? Because I'm here pouring my heart and soul into you, giving you all the tools that you're going to need to get started if you're getting started, or to push yourself to the next level, all right? So subscribe, mash the notification bell, and guess what? Show me some love, man. Give me some likes. All right, let's go. Equipment that you need for this workout are as follows. Dumbbells, your body. You need a bench. And, I mean, if you have a kettlebell, that's awesome. If you don't, no big deal. 4 exercises. We have mountain climbers. We have goblet squats. We have bench press or incline bench press. And then we're going to also follow that up with a renegade row. All right? So I'm going to show you these exercises real quick. Let's go. Mountain climbers, 20. 20 per leg, right to a goblet squat. So holding this up in front of you, straddle the bench. Eight, 9, 10 of them. So 10 goblet squats, right to your bench press. And then a renegade rows. So it's 10 goblet squats, 10 bench presses, and 10 renegade rows per arm. So renegade row, nice plank position. Make sure you're not jamming that rest into the ground. Here we go, 40. All right, go small. Mountain climbers are set. Woo! Oh yeah. She's up, baby. Now that is what I call a water break. All right, so now we got our next quad set. So it's 4 exercises. We're gonna be going jump squats, dive bombers, V-ups, and curl and press. So a bicep curl and press. All right, so this one, the only one you need for the dumbbells for that. So we're gonna start with jump squats. So it's jump squats, 20 reps. The dive bombers is 10 reps. The V-ups is also 20 reps. And then it's gonna finish with the curl and press, which is 10 reps, okay? So let's go. All right, so squat jumps. Let's do this, man. Landing nice and soft. Dive bomber next. It's like a dive bomber push-up. Right, so 20 V-ups. So same thing. We're gonna go through this 3 times. Alright, and then the curl up presses. Woo-wee. Get that second win, baby. 10. All right, here we go. Round 2. Almost got carried away there. Woo. Oh, come on, 10 more. Come on. Struggle bus. Struggle bus. Dumbbell curl and press. We got this, right? We got this. Curl and press. 2, 3. Come on, man. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. Here we go. 3rd round. Let's roll. Dive bombers here. Forward to that water break. Okay, 20 V-ups. It's abs. Don't cry on camera, Brent. Come on, Lisa. 10. Come on. What's the chances of someone making it this far in the video or podcast or wherever you're watching and watching me suffer right here? Give me a thumbs up. Say I'm in. I'm watching you, Brent. You're suffering. Come on, that's fine. Alright. Curl and press. And then water break. Right? Funny thing is, sometimes I feel like I don't even need a water break. One. All right, water break. Third circuit. Woo! Those water breaks just don't get old. Woo! We made it last quad set. This is our last circuit, whatever you want to call it. So we have burpees, bench dips. What else do we have? We have rear delt flies and sit-ups. All right. So we're gonna be doing 10 burpees, 20 bench dips, 20 rear delt flies or post delts or whatever you want to call them, bent over rear delt flies. And the last one is sit-ups. And of course, we're gonna do 20 of those because that's gonna just suck for me. I can't stand any type of abs, but it's okay. Because guess what? They're good for you. And I'm gonna tell myself I love them, right? So I love them. Here we go. All right, so 10 burpees. This is all the way down with the push-up and everything. So kick your feet back. And with the jaw. All right, bench dips. Keeping those toes up. Sliding that back up and down the bench. Also tricep dip. Post delts. You're bent over, nice control. Woo, 20. All right. And sit up. So I got these handy dandy dumbbells out here just to hook my toes up underneath, keeping your butt nice and tight to your heels. That puts us right back at burpees. Everything. So Kick your feet back. And with the jump. All right. Bench, generally do burpees. Then sit ups all day long. Rear delt fly. And last but not least, sit-ups. Set. Two more. Woo. Bench shift. Stay strong. Stay strong. Success is the only option. Post delts, rear delt flies. You guys are doing better than me. Five more. Woo. And sit-ups. Let's go. I feel like I'm melting to the floor. Oh! 5 water break. Woo. Now that is a way to finish your workout. Just like I promised, I told you I was going to give you some pro tips, but whether you fast forward it to the end of the long form video and you watch the whole workout and you just want to make sure you're doing things right and you did great, you kicked butt, or you're just a beginning person getting started and you want to make sure, hey, you know what, before I get to the gym, before I start doing these things, whether it's at home, at the gym, I want to make sure that I'm doing the correct form, because that's just how it is. So I want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. If I give you a couple quick tips or some modifications for each of these exercises and you gain knowledge from it, that is all I care about. I want you guys to get the most out of this. So if you also find this content amazing and really beneficial to you, you got to think, there's somebody else that needs it also. So share this show with them, share this video with them, share however you're consuming it, and that way, you know, they're attacking their goals in the right way as well. All right, so mountain climbers. First exercise of the quad set was mountain climbers. Make sure your shoulders are directly over top of your hands. When you get into the mountain climber position, 1 foot forward, and you want to kind of like hop and jump and just alternate your feet. So you want to make sure that your knees stay behind your hips and your shoulders stay directly over top of your hands, okay? If you have wrist issues, grabbing some dumbbells, keeping your hands planted on dumbbells, obviously is going to help with your wrists, all right? So those are two major things to get the most out of your mountain climbers. One, it's for cardio, getting the heart rate up. Two, it's for your core work, all right? And it's also an isometric motion for your shoulders as well. So second exercise is the goblet squat. I like holding a dumbbell like this, okay? So you have a dumbbell goblet squat, hold the dumbbells like this. If you're trying to stay with the same weights that you have, you can also hold, you know, 2 of them, if you need a little more weight, up like this, okay? So flipping them up under, holding your wrists up, and you want to make sure you got the bench behind you and you're squatting and driving up through your heels. If you feel like your knees are crashing in, a couple quick tips, throw some 5-pound plates or some 2.5-pound plates or something underneath your heels, keeping your heels elevated, so that way it'll help you to sit back into that position also. So elevating those heels in your goblet squat is one of the major ways to kind of make sure you're sitting back on those heels. So just trust the bench, find something right there so you can sit down on it. You know, that way you get a good 90-degree squat and it makes you feel comfortable to sit back on your heels. All right, heel elevation is always good. Another way to do it is to point your toes out, getting more into a plie goblet squat or plie squat, so that way, you know, you're not crashing those knees in as well, and you're building your VMO, your vastus medialis, and that way eventually you get to that perfect straight on squat. All right, bench press. So whether you're doing bench press or incline bench press, some people can't lay all the way on the bench, so putting the bench up a notch is okay. Bring it a little bit of an incline. But you want to make sure when you pick up the dumbbells from the floor, you know, you're picking them up and you're setting them on your thighs, so that way when you roll back into position, they will roll back right with you, okay? So that's a huge tip. So getting in and out of position also is a major factor, all right? Bench pressing up, making sure your elbows aren't straight out beside you. Blowing out on the way up. All right, so that's the bench press. Make sure those, you know, the dumbbells get into that position is probably one of the most key factors as well. All right, the renegade row. If you can't do a renegade row, standing, put your one hand behind your back, so that way you're using your core, and you know, because that's one of the major things that you're using in the renegade row. You're doing your, you know, your rhomboids also, which is your back, and stabilizing on one arm. But you know, if you want to have your one hand on the dumbbell, you can have one hand on the floor. Biggest thing with this is do not jam that dumbbell into the floor. All right, so I don't want you jamming your wrist. So hopefully you guys like those pro tips for this first circuit. Get something out of it. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I want to make sure you get the most out of it. All right, here we go, on to the next circuit. Second circuit, here we go. Pro tips for the second circuit of your at-home 30-minute, you know, just obviously fat shredding, cardio, intense with strength training in there as well, workout. So if you haven't watched the whole video, go watch the whole video for sure. If you fast forwarded to this point, then here we go. I want to make sure you get the pro tips so that way you have success. All right, so it starts off with the jump squat. You want to make sure, big thing with a jump squat is landing soft, meaning don't jam your knees into the ground, okay? So land soft and absorb the jump squat itself. So just landing, so if you're paying attention to yourself, that fluid motion up and down. If you want to make it a little harder, obviously you can hold dumbbells as well, but you want to master the jump squat itself. If you feel like you can't do the jump squat, it's okay. Just do squats. So as you're building strength, you'll be fine. Second exercise was right into the dive bomber. So dive bombers, the biggest thing with this is, you want to make sure your butt's piked up in the air. Most people know it as like a downward dog, the yoga pose, and you're just diving your head down right into between your hands and then rolling it forward, okay? And then just pike your butt straight up. So that way you're just going right back into that, downward dog position. So down through your hands like a push up and then rolling it forward. If you want to, you can reverse it as well for a little more of a challenging exercise as well. All right, so that's the dive bomber. The next thing we did was the V-up. So V-up or jackknife, but same thing. Like if you can't do a V-up, V-ups are like this. You want to come up and, you're trying to drive your shoulders up off the ground, keeping your chin tucked, blowing out, trying to think about pulling your stomach in. So if you feel like that's too much, you can go right into your suitcase crunch. That way, you make sure your back stays on the ground, your feet stay above your knees in that suitcase crunch, keeping that pressure off of your lower back. All right. Then we go into our dumbbell curl and press. So it's a great exercise. You don't want to fly through it though. Okay, so you want to make sure you're curling and then rotational with the shoulder press. Bend your knees a little bit. Make sure your butt's sitting back so that way you're not arching your whole back into it. When you come down, you're just reversing that motion straight down. Keeping your hands supine the whole time. Curl it up. Rotational all the way up. So you want to make sure you're doing the rotation while pushing up. So it's not at the top and it's not at the bottom. It's during the actual motion itself. All right? So making sure you guys have the correct weights for all those things so that way you get the most out of each exercise, all right? Pro tips for our third quad set. So we got the 4 exercises: burpees, bench dips, post delts or rear delt flies, and then also our sit-ups. Okay, so let's go get the most out of this. So if you fast forward to this point, obviously we're gonna make sure you get the pro tips that you desire, all right? So you get the most out of it. All right, so we have burpees, all right? If you can do them, here we go. I want to make sure you don't slam your hands into the ground, okay? So it's a lot of impact on your shoulders, so don't slam your hands to the ground. So get a good squat in, put your hands on the ground, kick your feet back, and just drop your chest to the ground and straight up and jump, okay? So make sure it's all a fluid motion. You want to make sure you jump with both feet at the same time. That means it's just showing that control of your body so that way you get the most out of your burpee. If you can't do a burpee, no big deal. Good way to do it to kind of make it justified. A lot of times I'll do squat jumps, plank thrusters. So I'll go squat jumps, which is the top part of the burpee, plank thrusters. So you're down in this position, you're not jamming your shoulders, you're just hopping the feet in and out, and then push-ups. So that way you can kind of build into the one steady fluid motion, and you're not getting the impact on all 3 of that together. All right. So you can break it up into that motion. All right. So bench dips. Great exercise. Want to make sure also if you're too hard on your wrists, grabbing like the edges of the bench, wrapping your hands up underneath it. But the biggest thing that people do, want to make sure your toes are up. They don't have to be all the way out and locked straight. Okay, you can have them elevated up onto something, make it a little harder, but keeping your back almost like you're rubbing it straight up and down on the bench. So keeping that bench or back nice and tight to the bench. Okay. If you can't do your own body weight for your bench dips, just do a tricep exercise. So grabbing a dumbbell, going to an overhead tricep press, or some dumbbell tri kickbacks. So just building those muscles up so that way you can get into that as well. All right, your rear delt flies, bent over post delts. Biggest thing with this, same thing, picking up the weights. You want to make sure you're pushing that butt back, keeping your back nice and tight. Don't ever feel like you're kind of rolling it down. If you feel like you're getting sloppy, just stand up, reposition. You want to drive those arms straight out to the side, and it's just squeezing the back of those shoulders. Okay, so just biggest thing, squeezing and driving those shoulders back. best exercise for increasing that posture. Meaning a lot of times people walk around always internal rotated because you're in the car, because you're working, and everything's in front of you like this, your phone. So being able to open that chest up and build those, post delts to back to your shoulders. That way you can get, you don't end up looking like a caveman. All right, sit-ups. To make these hard, you want to make sure I use the dumbbells. Helps to hold my feet down, but you can hold your hands behind your head. Keep your elbows straight out to make it the hardest, and you want to make sure your butt is right up on those heels. And it makes it super hard, okay? Keep your back driven into the ground. Roll your hips up a little bit so that way your abs stay engaged the whole time. So make sure those hips are up, back's driven in the ground, pulling your stomach and your spine and blowing out on the way up, all right? It's a lot. So hopefully you guys get all that, because at the end of the day, the better you understand those simple things, the more you can grow upon it, but you're also going to get the most out of your workout, all right? So hopefully you guys will love those pro tips. Don't forget, share the show. That was pretty much a personal training session in a nutshell. I was right there with you. I mean, I couldn't spot you, couldn't slap you around, but I was trying to give you some coaching along the way. So if you waited to the end, you got the pro tips. If you did the workout with me, that's awesome. I loved it. You probably kicked my butt. No big deal. Your ego is not your amigo, my friend. So, if you're looking for personal training, you're looking to take your, training to the next level. You're looking for some accountability. You're looking to make sure that this year is better than last year and better than the year before that. Because that's what life is about. Consistently striving for greatness, becoming the best version of yourself. So if you're not doing it, then you need that push. You need that accountability. It's okay. It's not a big deal. I have clients I've been working with for decades plus, and they could train on their own, but they love having, A, the accountability, B, they love having the ability to change up their program to make sure that they're always increasing the difficulty levels, but it's at their level. It's at a personal level, all right? So hopefully you guys get that from my videos. I want you to share these videos, because that's how I grow my audience. That's how I find people like you and people like you. You get that? Did that make sense? Like you and people like you. So that way, they're all a bunch of like-minded people. Because obviously I want to attract that same demographic, because that's who I connect with, is you.